I've been making art from debris since about 2000, after I moved here from another national park called Jasper. And when I moved here, one of the things that really surprised me very much so was finding all of the debris and garbage along the shorelines. I was really surprised about that, because coming from Jasper, you know, it was hard to, you know, if you found a candy wrapper on the trail, that was oh, everybody was so disgusted. But then I got here, and it was also a national park, and yet there was all this debris all over the park, and nobody really was talking about it. It didn't seem to be, everybody just sort of accepted it and shrugged their shoulders. So that really bothered me, and I didn't know what to do about it, to be honest with you, because it was such a big problem. You know, there's so many venues of where all the material's coming from across the ocean, from other communities. But then I don't know, as I was looking at the material and thinking about it, I just sort of had a bit of a change in my perception of the material, and I started seeing things that actually really kind of spoke to me from an aesthetic standpoint or from an artistic standpoint. And when I moved here, one of the things that I was really felt I was missing in my life was having some kind of a creative artistic outlet. And so that was something, when I got here, I kind of really consciously started experimenting with different types of art. I tried painting, I tried carving, and nothing really was a good fit for me. And then I kind of just stumbled on the idea of starting to use the debris to make art from, and it really, that was like a perfect medium for me, because it was, you know, I could be very fearless with how I experimented with it and used it, and at the end of the day, if it didn't work out, well, it didn't really matter, because it was garbage, and at the very least, I had cleaned it off the beach, and so it didn't really matter. So it really allowed me to kind of experiment and develop my own style with it, and provided me a really fun outlet with using the different types of materials, and it was kind of unique for the area. So there was I got lots of great feedback from my friends. I made some things that I just gave away and got really good feedback and good encouragement from friends and family. So I just kept making art and kept developing it and honing the skills and the techniques. And then the tsunami in Japan happened, and it was very different. So all this material started showing up from Japan, and it had a very different feeling than the typical garbage, you know, that we had been finding up until then. So suddenly it was this stuff that, you know, this material that, you know, had so much meaning to the individuals, and it had so much tragedy associated with it, and yet I was still really interested in collecting it for all the same reasons I was finding the other debris and using it. So I kind of had to try and rectify that in my brain about how am I going to use this material, or what to do with this material. How, if I was going to use it, how am I going to use it in a way that's, you know, not that's respectful for the Japanese people, and you know, not going to be taken the wrong way. And so I was really struggling with that, and I had an opportunity to go to Japan before debris and that we made debris. I had an opportunity to go to Japan with another documentary made by two filmmakers from Toronto. And the film was called Lost and Found, and it was about returning items that we were finding beachcombing, and we were finding these items, and we could actually track them back to people in Japan. So we were returning these just different objects. We had like a couple of soccer balls and a volleyball that had been signed. It's really a common gift in Japan to give your friends, like when you graduate from school, and that is that they give each other a signed, everybody signs the ball and gives it to them. So lots of people had these signed balls, and when the tsunami struck, these balls ended up in the ocean, and they were one of the first things that floated across the ocean. And within 9 months after the tsunami, that was the very first item that got found that we tracked back to Japan was a volleyball.